All right, so welcome back to another episode of the Loose Cannons USA. And today we are going to talk about the Premier League and the latest game Arsenal's played against our London rivals, Chelsea.
Yeah, it was a close game, as I was saying in the last episode. I thought it was going to be close. Chelsea, credit to them. They've had a long time coming for a deserved result. And this game, you know, I don't even want to say it's a deserved result. I think it was more us being off that day. But is what it is. 2-2 is the final score. No changing it now. No apologies from the referees. The FA is going to change that. We also played poor. We didn't help our case. So credit to Chelsea. They were on their game. We weren't.
Yeah, you know what? Like you said, no apologies, nothing's going to change anything now. But that first half, we just didn't play our game. And going into it, I thought that we'd, be a little bit more up for the challenge and have a little bit better outcome. But you know what? Like you said, against Chelsea, it doesn't matter how they're doing, what form they're in. Arsenal versus Chelsea is always going to be a good game, like you said. And at Stamford Bridge, it's a tough opponent. So it doesn't matter what form you're in, it matters how you show up on that day. And that first half was not a good half from Arsenal. It was really not a good half. It was, this is a game I thought we should have dominated a lot more, especially in the first half. But, you could even say, the better the play in the first half, we kind of 50-50, but the better play came from Chelsea because we were just not on it. And you have an early pen, which 100% is a penalty kick. His hand is up in the air, hits, it's a handball. Then you have the player who's actually scored on us earlier in the season for Manchester City, but now on Chelsea, Cole Palmer playing, as a right winger, comes in and nails the pen. Who actually, I think if you read, they re-showed it. Um, Sterling had the ball. I thought he was going to take it, and then Cole Palmer took it from him. But at the end of the day,
I think
the
Fernandez
ball
told him
ended
to
up in
take
the
that.
back of the net. So that's what happened. And an early down 1-0 to Chelsea is not ideal.
No, it isn't, especially when you're away from home. You got those fans involved too, which, you could say they're plastic or whatever, but they had their fans in attendance. And it was all Arsenal chance to start. All of a sudden, they got that goal, and you're hearing for the next I don't even know how long, at least 60 minutes, mainly Chelsea chants, and didn't feel good. But Arsenal fans, you could hear them most of the game, at least when it was level. Obviously, when you're outnumbered, it's a little hard. But going back to the game itself, it was a nice penalty. Sends Raya the wrong way. But like you said, definitely a penalty. Nothing Saliba could really do there. Just unfortunate that his hand got in the way. And now talking about Palmer, I forgot if it was just before this or just after this. On play, Jesus had the ball, goes to pass it back. Not 2 seconds later, 3 seconds later, enough time has passed for him to process, to let go of the ball, comes in, studs up from behind, cleats him. I don't even think it was a card. Was it a card? No, right?
I don't
No,
think
not
so.
even a yellow. I think it was before the penalty, too. It should have, in my opinion, I mean, granted, I have some bias being an Arsenal fan, should have been a red. It was dangerous. Studs up from the back, right to the Achilles heel. Jesus isn't looking, could snap an ankle. It's got to at least be a yellow. It's dangerous play. It shouldn't be happening, especially when you have that much time to think about the play, what's going on. And, we're just getting one of two apologies that came from the FA and the referees.
Yeah. And, from the run of play watching the game, it didn't really seem, it happened quick, so I didn't get the best look at it. But after the game, I saw a picture, and you clearly see him studs up, and looked like the back of his Achilles heel, his ankle, and that at least a yellow. Like I said, if not possible, red in my opinion too. After seeing that picture after the game, but like I said, no more apologies, and in the game after that, we're down 1-0, and there's a cross in the box, and Sanchez comes out and totally takes out Gabriel Jesus, and it should have been a clear penalty. I mean,
Yeah.
I think anywhere else on the pitch, it's a penalty. So why not in the box penalty? Yeah, it's a keeper, it's in his box, but he didn't even get the ball. I don't think, or even
No,
clearly. It wasn't,
nowhere near it.
it should have been a clear penalty kick, and it's something that we didn't get. And they're apologizing after the game, like they did last season to us, like they did to Liverpool this season. And I just think that it's absolutely ridiculous and it's terrible to the game. And
Yeah.
it's a clear, not game changer, but look at the league. It changes the league because if you look at the league right now, we're in third place. We lost 2 points from that potentially. So
Yeah.
it's a big deal. I thought it should have been a penalty kick. But you know what? It's it sucks, but nothing you can change. You just got to play the game.
Yeah. Now, a few days later, there's nothing we could do about it. But, as a keeper, if I'm coming out, I don't touch the ball at all. It's at least a penalty, if not a card. In that situation, all right, you're going for the ball. Maybe don't give him the card, but you don't get the ball at all, nowhere near it. It's got to be a penalty. You just can't take out a opposing player without even getting a fingertip on the ball. So that was a bit later. I believe that was the second half, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh
But
yeah.
still, it doesn't matter when it is. It happened. It's against the rules, and with these referees, you know, they even called the penalty about a minute and a half later. So we have VAR for a reason. People say it slows down the game, but do you want the right calls or do you want the game to just continue on? I think VAR should have had a look there, and a minute and a half later, even, I think they should have stopped the game and looked at it. But if you can call a penalty a minute and a half later with play going on, should have done that. And as you can see after the game, they came out for this one and they apologized for it. It's not right. It's not right what they did to us. It's not right what they did to Liverpool. Not just because it was against Tottenham, but because you heard on that discussion in the Liverpool versus Tottenham game how they said they messed up. How could you say you messed up and not change the call? I don't get it. So we need some type of consistency from this officiating. It's not right. It's not fair to any of the teams in the league. Doesn't matter if it's Arsenal, Liverpool, Sheffield, Tottenham, even. Doesn't matter who you are. It's got to be consistent.
It
So
needs to be more consistent. And even like I remember a play, I think in Kedia took a volley and it clearly went off one of the defender's head. Should have been a corner kick and they gave a goal kick. I mean,
yeah,
at that level, it it's got to be better. I mean, everyone could see it going on. I don't know what the refs are looking at, which is crazy. But going away from the refs, not a good first half. You go into the second half, and right off from the bat from the second half, you have the £100 million man, Mikhailo Mudric. He went across it. I don't care what Chelsea fans say. He went across the ball. All right, and Raya was off his line. For my opinion, you can say your opinion as a goalie, but I think he was off his line. Mudric went to go across the ball, looking for a Sterling. He crosses it. It's not the best cross, but where does it end up? In the back of the net. Either way, doesn't matter. You know what happens? Ball ended up in the back of the net, and now we're down 2-0 early on in the second half. But you know what? I do think after that, we responded very nicely too, because I was going to say our second half was almost the way we should have played. But the unfortunate thing is, a minute, 2 minutes in, you're down 2-0. You can't play catch up in this league. Away at Stamford Bridge, you can't play catch up and get 3 points out of it.
no, it was definitely not the way Arteta drew that up to start the half. Obviously, yeah, Raya was cheating. He was expecting a cross. That's what Mudric was trying to do after reviewing the play. Personally, at first, I thought that was a shot. I thought he just saw Raya off his line and thought, let me go for this. But he slowed down. You could see it was just a mishit cross. And it was lucky for him. He needed that. And without Zinchenko on the field, he could probably think a bit better. He might regret that after Zinchenko's comments. But, you know, going back to the first half here, real quick, I think one of the biggest problems was Zinchenko. It's rare we say that, but I feel like he was playing very emotional. And I think it was a good switch to start the second half, taking him out, putting in Tomiyasu. It was a step in the right direction. Obviously, you don't draw up that cross, that miss hit cross to beat a cheating Raya, but mistakes happen. Everyone's human. So going on from that, like you said, we definitely picked it up after that. Chelsea kind of sat a little further back and we just put the pressure on them. We just kept going until finally we got one and started to get some momentum back.
Yeah. Like you said too, just thinking Zinchenko was just not him, it for him that day. And like I said, the whole first half, Martinelli, Saka, our whole attack was not there. They were really ghost. But in the second half, we picked it up. After Mudryk scored, we are down 2-0. We picked it up in the second half, and you start seeing more of what we missed in the first half. You start seeing, little spells from Saka making stuff happen. You see Tomiyasu come in, who I thought has been playing very well coming in as a sub and starting Champions League games. But, the second half, we started picking it up. We started possessing more. And like you said, it took some time and we had some opportunities, but eventually, you know, Chelsea's keeper, Robert Sanchez, they're trying to build up out of the back. He makes a bad pass out of the back. And who was there? Our 100 million pound man, Declan Rice, baby. And he sees Sanchez off his line. Well, not really off his line, out of the net, and fires it from, almost 40 yards out. And he hammers it, a beautiful shot in the back of the net. And that really got us going because that was in the 79th minute, I believe. With time winding down, you need 2 goals. 2-0 is a dangerous lead, but with time winding down, you need that first goal first, and that gave us so much momentum going to the end of the game. But it's what you expect from Declan Rice, 24-year-old central midfielder, starts for England. It's been, ran the midfield for West Ham the past few years and has been playing, in my opinion, phenomenal for Arsenal this year so far. And it's like, I don't want to play a game without him in the center midfield. He's just been so solid. His backtracking, defending, a true 8 box-to-box midfielder. And what do they do sometimes? They score goals. And that was a beauty from Declan Rice, which is the exact thing that we needed to, give us that extra push to go for getting some points in this game.
Worth every penny, defensively and offensively. He's not going to score those pretty goals, even though that one was actually kind of nice. Made a nice movement. He kind of hid behind his midfielder. I guess that's why Sanchez, from his angle, he probably thought he was open. And, it's a slow pass. Rice has enough time to get around him. And he bends it like Beckham, puts it right in the right in between the posts, and that's it. It was honestly smart by him. And then later on, we get the ball rolling, like you said. And Saka, who I thought should have rested again, but didn't. He puts one in across into the far post, and who's there but Trossard? It was a beautiful cross and a beautiful finish. He sneaks it right under Sanchez's left glove, and that's what we need, 2-2. And there's still a good amount of time left to try and hopefully win the game, which unfortunately we didn't do.
Yeah, and just right before I go into the Trossard goal, that Rice goal, I saw a quote from after. I don't know if anyone has watched the Beckham documentary on Netflix, but it's a great documentary. Definitely go check it out. But Declan Rice definitely made a comment that he saw the documentary, and one of the first episodes talks about Beckham's goal from like midfield, and he was like, he was said he was thinking about it. Hey, if Beckham could do it, why not me? So I just thought that was pretty funny from another English midfielder to bend it like Beckham. But anyway, like I said, that goal brought us all this momentum, and leading into that second goal that we really needed, like I said, seeing a little bit more from Saka. What I really thought was good from Arteta was the use of our substitutions. Because like we've been saying since the beginning of the season when we started this podcast, Trossard is a super sub. And he came on for Martinelli, who really didn't do much. And he was watching the game, he was always open on that left side, but also some other subs that came on for some players that weren't playing that well. You have Odegaard who came out who, just struggled in this game to get on the ball and make stuff happen. But you have Smith Rowe come on and Kai Havertz come on. Two subs that, although I didn't think, you know, Smith Rowe had the best of games. He still was effective, but you look at that goal, and it starts from a long ball from the back, and who brings it down? Our 6'2" versatile player, Kai Havertz. He brings the ball down. It gets lost a little bit, but he ends up picking that ball back up in that play, and he plays it out wide to Saka, who then does his magic, crosses it, perfect cross, and Trossard is there at the end of it to get it in the back of the net. Or super sub Leandro Trossard. He also worth every penny, and I will still take him over
Yeah.
Mudryk any day of the week. So I think that was a little touche. Hey, he scored in this game. We didn't have to pay 100 million. We paid 30 million for Leandro Trossard, who scored a lot of goals and had a lot of assists for us. So I just think the use of the substitutions there made a difference from Arteta, and something it's like Kai Havertz. He's been playing a little bit well, but like I said, if you go back and watch that play, Havertz brings the ball down, which he is what we want him to do, which is what he's been doing, and he ends up getting the assist of the assist, finding Saka, who then crosses it, and Trossard scores. But those last 10 minutes of the game, we were all over them. I mean,
Eddie had a
it's
chance too. That
yeah,
right
and you
after
have
that
Eddie
almost went.
Nketiah who gets a through ball play to him, and he gets a tough angle, but he gets a shot off and just misses the post, by like less than a foot, I would say. But we were on them those last 10, 15 minutes. Although the whole second half I thought was very well. Right after Rice's goal, we were really had the pressure on them, and I think another 5, 10 more minutes, we could put another one in the back of the net. But it ends up 2-2.
Yeah, and end of the day, from the start we had, it was a deserved 2-2. Obviously, we won 3 points, but even with picking it up like that, there's no excuses for that first half. Almost everyone was playing off. It started with a left back, but in the attack too, even the center backs, Gabriel and Saliba, they didn't have anyone to specifically man mark, so they were a little confused. Everyone had a little bit of an off game. Thankfully, most of the players found it, and if they didn't, they were subbed off. Even if they did find it a little bit, some of our players did need to be subbed off, like Odegaard. People say he's missing in big games, but honestly, that game, did you see him really get the ball too? I didn't see him really even get the ball. So how can you say he doesn't show up when the man doesn't even get the ball? It's tough, but to come back from 2-0 late in the game like that is what you want to see. It's what champions do.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? Good teams, championship teams come back and win games, or, in this case in the league, come back and just get points off. And you know what? It's a shame we didn't get 3 points, but at the end of the day, we got point. We got a point. So, that's better than
Still
nothing. And
unbeaten.
like I said, it could come a long way, especially coming down 2-0. Would have loved, to play good from the beginning, but you know what? Coming back from 2-0, I thought the team showed great perseverance to push forward and not give up. And I think under Arteta, that has been a common theme, culture he's built to never give up. Because we could have easily given up after that Mudryk goal and just shut down. But that whole second half, we were on them, we were at them. I thought we should have even won. But I think it's also a lesson learned that you can't take anyone for granted, which I kind of did a little bit. But I think from the Arsenal standpoint, whatever, you can't take anyone from granted. Any given day, and you got to push forward and you can't give up because anything can happen. And we've had a lot of late goals, and I think there are going to be a lot more games we're going to have to get some late goals. But I thought it was good to see from the team to, rally together, good subs come back and tie the game and leave there, escape with a point. And that leaves us in third place in a league behind Man City in second, and a other team from North London that I'm not going to mention in first place. But you know what? It's still early. We're 2 points out of first place, and we move forward to our next game, and we need to get 3 points.
We're still unbeaten. Don't forget that.
Hmm.
So yeah, next game against Sheffield. I believe it's Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, 10 a.m. New York time. And like you said, don't take any game for granted. Even though we're gonna go back to what we say every podcast against teams like this, it's a team that we should breeze through. We should. put 3, 4 on, if not more. But we have to be prepared for anything. We have to come right out of the gate, not flat footed, ready to go, get one early, and take it from there instead of showing up how we showed up against Chelsea. We show up this way, any game's up to anybody. So when we put our best foot forward, we could beat anybody. And let's continue this unbeaten run. Let's take it to Sheffield and try to take first from those who shall not be named.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, let's continue this nice little unbeaten run we have going on and going to Sheffield. Like I said, it doesn't matter who you're playing. We have to go out and hopefully we start out the game from the first minute. We're back home at the Emirates and must 3 points. So looking at that against Sheffield United, what would be your starting lineup?
Um, I think with Ramsdale having his baby recently, congratulations to him. But and Arteta's been riding Raya, even with these little mistakes. Obviously, he's human. Everyone's gonna make some mistakes. I think Arteta's still on that Raya train. I'm gonna go with Raya. I'm gonna go with Tomiyasu at left back, Gabriel Saliba, and White across the back line. Obviously, White playing right back. I go Rice, CDM. Partey, I believe, is dealing with a muscle injury. I'm not sure his timeline. So I'm going to go with Odegaard. And I want to see a Smith Rowe start. So this one, I don't think it's going to happen, but it's what I want to happen. I want to see Smith Rowe in there. And I'm going to go with Martinelli, Saka, and Jesus. I think Saka's had a little enough time to recover and start Jesus now that he's finding his form. Eddie hasn't really been starting recently, so super sub. We have a deep bench, got plenty of options to fill in here and there. Let's see how it goes. What about you?
Yeah. So I actually am going to say, once again, congratulations to Ramsdale on having his baby. And I'm going to start with Ramsdale in that. And like a lot of talk has been going on, it's clear that Arteta wants Raya to play, but I think just watching, and like I said, they're not far off. They're close, but I still do think Ramsdale is better. And I just think that he deserves it too, and he is the better keeper in my opinion. Like I said, they're not far off, but I do think Ramsdale is the better keeper and is what we should go to. Who knows if Arteta has a little Spanish bias playing Raya, but regardless, I'm going to go with Ramsdale and net. Tomiyasu at left back. He's just been solid and playing very well. Gabriel and Saliba in the middle. Ben White, our new blondie at right back. And then in the middle, I am actually going to go with Rice and Jorginho to start because I thought that both of them together have been accompanying each other fairly well and have been, playing well together. So Rice and Jorginho with Odegaard in the 10 position, and then Martinelli on the left, Saka on the right, and Gabriel Jesus, who over and over just proves his point of why we picked him to be our number 9. So I think that's going to be my starting 11. But like I said, I also hope to see Smith Rowe coming as a sub. Havertz, Trossard's going to come in as a sub. We have the depth. And against Sheffield United, we need 3 points. And I think this is a game we need to get our goal differential. Like I said, can't underestimate anybody. Need 3 points is most important.
Yeah, that's that's the key going in here. Just put a few past them and continue on.
Yep. So we will wait until this weekend and watch our Gunners hopefully pull up and get 3 points. So, as always, guys, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more episodes and come on, you Gunners.
Come on, you guys.